Absolutely. Well, I mean, it far surpassed what we thought it was going to be, and we were expecting good things, but really everybody else has told us, by virtue of the fact that they attended as well, just how fantastic this event has been. And frankly, it's partially our doing, and not completely our doing, partially because of the enthusiasm in the industry as a whole, and there just aren't that many facilities or locations necessarily for this caliber and exact type of attendee. I mean, it's very much a C-level event. It's very much the top managed service providers, top data center service providers coming together, and their financiers as well, the people of interest in this particular sector, without necessarily turning it into a big sales show. And folks love that, and they love the ability to network and rub shoulders with each other. And it's not just in a social setting. There are a lot of folks, to be crude about it, have just sat in offices, holding and hosting meeting after meeting after meeting with appropriate attendees that they want to meet. So this has turned out to be an incredible meeting location, as well as dissemination of information in the market as to where we're going together. So we've loved it. I mean, with over 600 attendees, pretty much growing by 100 attendees a year. The one big thing that we've seen this year is a huge uptake from the financial community, and I think that this year we had over 20% of the attendees either being investment bankers, private equity firms, or some kind of vehicle towards financing in this direction. There are a ton more people that are on the phone with us every day, generally speaking, asking about this market, very eager to enter into it altogether. I mean, there are three sort of people that we try to cater to in terms of the content as analysts that we're providing here, and they're really around the financial folks who are investing in this market, and I want to understand what direction the market's taking, frankly, whether their investments are safe, whether it's continuing to be an A industry in the next 5 years that they're investing in. B is the actual service providers themselves, data center providers, hosting providers, cloud service providers. And we try not only to address where they are in the market, because people actually want to know. People always want to know, where are we in the market? What are the revenue numbers? What are the latest trends? Are we missing anything? Particularly from a C-level perspective, they need to understand strategically how they answer those questions to their board, how they direct their own company, down which path they're going to go. And then the third sort of sector beyond the service providers and money people is a lot of the actual consumers of all of these services, generally speaking, and the vendors, I presume you could say as well. And there's also sort of a split between the data center market and the hosting market. There is a difference in direction. There is a difference in where their focus tends to be. And I'm trying to align that focus a little bit more so they're not at arm's length from each other, because their fate is inherently twisted together. And I truly believe that in the next 5 years, and that was the theme of where I was going, as well as where are we going next? We're entering this next phase of cloud. So what does that mean to you, Mr. Financier? What does it mean to you, Mr. Data Center Provider, hosting provider, consumer? Yeah, I mean, the content was really about sort of where are we? Everybody wants to know where we are. Are we okay? And we're okay, because the broader economy, while it's still got its jitters, we're growing tremendously. And we see this from everywhere. From the hardware vendors have shown that the only level of growth has come from outsourced service providers, increasing their purchase of hardware. We hear it from the facilities builders and design folks that most of the builds and designs now in the real estate industry is really coming from these outsourced service providers. It's across the board. So people want to know, is that trend healthy? Is it really what they think they're seeing? And we validate that. That's the first thing. The second thing we're doing is saying, where are you going? Right? What do you need to be aware of? Because most of these folks, again, have relatively simple ideas about where they're going, but they're often judged purely on a financial basis. So we need to be able to say to all of the people of interest in this room, including the financiers, hey, we need to stop thinking purely about the financials and think about the strategy for the long-term financials, right? And so you can't just say, in 1 year's time, this is the financials that I want to get to, and tactically, how do I get there? You have to say, in 5 years' time, where am I going to be? Because otherwise my business won't exist. And that's really what we try to do, is tell everybody, listen, it's a rising tide, but not all boats are going to rise. Some of them will not rise, and there will be failures. And so we don't want to. We want to be evangelists for the industry, but we're not going to evangelize those that we think are not doing the right things. So we try to direct where we indicate or we see are the things that people are doing extremely well. We reflect on that, and they seem to be well accepted by the industry as well. So that's generally the topics and the themes that we try to revolve around. Individually, some of the sessions that you've noticed will speak to very specific agenda items that I alluded to up in the keynote, and those would be, okay, we have a financial track, if you will, where people are talking about valuations, why the valuations lower than they ought to be, or a lot of people expect them to be necessarily. A lot of people who want to be bought out think the valuations should be sky high. So a reality check on what are you really valued at? Let's get this straight. The other themes are around privacy, around security, around efficiency, and around the pass wars that are coming up. These are all themes that we thought were very, very relevant to this particular industry, and most importantly, again, how the data center and hosting guys should be coming together and figuring out how to partner. Where do they go next? What does this whole cloud mean to all of them? Because it's fundamentally taking us on a new path, a new direction that's going to intertwine them. And you can no longer, as a data center provider, say, I'm only going to focus on my power. How do I get the lowest power efficiency possible? Because behind you is a huge wave of competition and new entrants to this market that are going to come and eat your lunch if you're not paying attention. Yes, we're surprising people. Not everybody here is a customer, so of course those people are going to be very surprised. Some of the folks only subscribe to a certain portion of our publications and don't necessarily take advantage of a lot of the advisory work that we do, a lot of the face-to-face time that we actually do. And I think it's human nature. People are not going to necessarily absorb every single thing that we give them at the end of the day. And this is sort of an aggregation of points that have occurred throughout the year that we think are most important and most salient for them to understand. So even the folks that are dedicated customers are being surprised suddenly. They're saying, whoa, now that we've seen the broader picture, because maybe, again, they were only focused on one segment of what we covered, data centers, IT efficiency or hosting or cloud, they're suddenly seeing the broader picture brought together, and they're suddenly seeing at elbow's length away from them, who the guy is that they're either co-locating with, or maybe who the guy is who's co-locating with them, or the guy's providing the power, providing the financing. And when they see the broader picture, it becomes a lot more meaningful to them, and they are pleasantly surprised that they've got the whole picture and that we're giving them.
Right.